Listen up, Bears faithful. The mandatory minicamp has officially wrapped up, but don't let the calm at Hallis Hall fool you for a second. While everyone is talking about spring progress, the real truth is that absolutely nothing is set in stone yet. We've got some heated position battles looming on the horizon, especially at left tackle, and the coaching staff has a definitive deadline to lock in our starters before the season kicks off. Are you ready to see who steps up when the pads finally come on? Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and comment below, because we're diving in right now. The focus for the Bears as they wrap up mandatory minicamp is clearly defined by Coach Ben Johnson, who has shifted the narrative away from the spring workouts. While fans might be eager to know who currently holds the lead in specific position battles, Johnson has explicitly stated that nothing from the OTAs or minicamp sessions truly dictates the final roster status. The evaluation process is set to begin in earnest only when the players return to Hallis Hall near the end of July. This period of learning and communication has served its purpose, but the actual competition for the 53-man roster will be carved out once the intensity ramps up. The staff is keeping a close watch on several spots, with the left tackle position being a primary area of interest. Candidates such as Braxton Jones, Jedrick Wills, Theo Benedette, and Kieran Amagaji are all part of a dynamic situation that will be scrutinized under much different conditions. Johnson emphasized that while being in a pole position right now does not hurt, the real work remains ahead. He noted that the team will maintain a clear plan, deciding between implementing a rotation or letting players compete directly for the starting roles. If individuals on the second or third teams begin to distinguish themselves during training camp, they will be given opportunities to showcase their abilities with the first team. This approach ensures that the depth chart remains fluid until the coaches see consistent performance. As the team prepares for the upcoming transition, the message from the leadership is that the spring was merely the foundation. The true physical nature of football is about to return, and every player knows the upcoming evaluation will determine who earns their spot on the roster for the season. When evaluating why this matters right now for the Bears, the answer lies in the transition from a non-contact spring to a high-intensity summer. The first week of training camp will functionally mirror the final days of minicamp, lacking pads and full-speed contact. However, the stakes are rising. Johnson mentioned that while the initial days will feel similar, the team will soon move into physical practices that incorporate contact, which is essential for identifying who will rise to the top. For the players, this means the environment at Hallis Hall is about to change abruptly. Defensive end Montez Sweat has already acknowledged the anticipation of these upcoming challenges, noting that he is preparing for live, hard-hitting drills and long taxing drives. The team recognizes that there is a price to pay to be successful in this league, and they are fully aware of what is required during these training camp sessions. This matters because the staff intends to avoid the lack of clarity that plagued the left tackle situation last season. Previously, that specific competition dragged on into the regular season due to recovery issues, and Johnson is determined to establish a settled depth chart well before the opening week. The goal is to reach a point where every starting position is solidified by the time they hit the field for the first real game. By forcing this competition, the team expects to see some players naturally rise while others fall, which will ultimately formulate the identity of the group. As the intensity increases, the players are expected to embrace these physical demands as a necessary component of their development and future success on the field. Coach Ben Johnson has established a concrete timeline for when these roster decisions will be finalized. He plans to have a very clear understanding of the pecking order by the halfway point of training camp, specifically aiming for resolution by the time the team prepares for the Cleveland game. That matchup, which serves as the preseason opener on August 15th, acts as the primary benchmark for the coaching staff to see how the roster has evolved under pressure. This deadline is vital for the team's organizational strategy, as it allows them to move forward with a set group of starters rather than constantly shuffling personnel. The importance of this approach is backed by Johnson's 15 years of experience in the league, during which he has concluded that cutting corners in training camp is not a viable strategy for achieving wins on Sunday. The players are entering this period knowing that they must make deposits of hard work to see returns later in the year. While the specific dates for these padded sessions have not yet been publicly revealed, the staff has made it clear that full contact practices will be interspersed throughout the camp. These practices were legendary during the previous season for their role in helping the team succeed, and the staff is looking forward to seeing who will emerge in that environment this year. By setting this early target date, the Bears are aiming to create a sense of urgency that will drive the intensity of every drill. Everyone involved, from the veteran leaders to the rookies fighting for a spot, understands that the time for learning and communication is ending, and the time for high-stakes competition is just around the corner. The competition for the left tackle position is the most prominent battle on the radar, but it is not the only one. Johnson confirmed that there are several other spots up for grabs that will demand the staff's full attention once the pads come on. As the roster begins to take shape, the coaching staff will rely on the observations made during these high-intensity physical wars to determine the final 53-man roster. The contrast between the light practice atmosphere observed at the end of minicamp and the reality of what is coming is significant. During the final session, there were moments of levity, such as offensive linemen running routes and skill players attempting to throw passes, but these were the last glimpses of the low-stakes environment. Moving forward, the focus will tighten significantly as the team looks to move past the uncertainties of the previous year. Braxton Jones, in particular, enters this camp aiming to prove his stability after facing difficulties recovering from a broken ankle that complicated the left tackle rotation last season. The coaches want to avoid repeating that scenario, and the upcoming training camp provides the perfect stage to evaluate how he and his fellow competitors, such as Jedrick Wills, Theo Benedette, and Kieran Amagaji, handle the physicality of the summer. The decision-making process will be comprehensive, ensuring that the best players are in the right spots to contribute. By the time the team breaks camp, the expectation is that they will have a well-defined group prepared to take on the rigors of the season. The process is designed to be fair, transparent, and intense, providing every candidate the opportunity to show they belong on the field when the games start counting. As the Bears conclude their mandatory minicamp, the message remains clear. The real season begins in July. The players have been told that their previous efforts, while useful for establishing communication, are not a guarantee of future roles. This is the moment where the staff transitions into a phase of evaluation that will be defined by contact and physical intensity. For those vying for starting spots or roster spots, the upcoming training camp represents the ultimate proving ground. The staff has made it clear that they are prepared to be flexible with their roster construction, and if a player from the depth chart demonstrates potential during these intense sessions, they will be given a chance to compete with the first team. This level of openness is meant to foster a competitive environment where the cream truly rises to the top. When the team reconvenes at Halas Hall, they will be facing a schedule that prioritizes hard-hitting, full-contact practice days designed to mirror the challenges of a regular season game. As the team prepares for these sessions, the staff is keeping an eye on the clock, aiming to reach a point of clarity before their first preseason action in mid-August. This disciplined focus on evaluation is how the team intends to build its foundation for success. The anticipation among the players is high, and they understand that there is no shortcut to finding their best version. As they head into their time off before training camp, the directive is simple: be ready to work, compete, and earn every single rep. It is time to bear down. The team is now looking toward the upcoming intense physical challenges as they prepare to return to the field and finalize their path toward the upcoming football season.